Alright, what's up everybody? Today's video we got another little tutorial. Today we're going to be changing out the tank pad. You'll notice that this tank pad is super thin and it doesn't cover any of the lip, which you know, if you've learned about jumping around a little bit, which I did, you're going to find out that lip is going to hurt if you don't jump high enough, and then also, you know, your tailbone and all that's going to hurt with, you know, a really thin tank pad on here. So I've got a new tank pad that I ordered through the Six Shop. It is the Cox Thick Diamond, I think is what it's called. It's or Fat Diamond, something like that. But it's the large diamonds. We're going to cover all the way across the top and around the back of this edge to where this is all protected. And because that pad's a little thicker, it's going to raise this up a little bit. So the first step is obviously going to be getting this pad off. We're going to prep the tank and we'll get it ready to put the next pad on. So I'll show you guys what we're going to do. Okay guys, obviously step one is going to be removing the old tank pad. I don't know how difficult this is going to be, so I'm going to try to just peel it up. If it doesn't want to come up, then you know, I'll probably have to get some kind of tool, but I don't know if they just use the standard adhesive. It's kind of what it feels like. So I might be able to just rip this off of here. You know, and don't really worry about what gets left behind adhesive wise. We're obviously going to get it off, but the other pad is going to cover this, so that's what I don't want to happen. Alright guys, we're down to our bowl. I'm going to get some rubbing alcohol and try to get as much of this off as I can, or really, I mean all of it. I don't want any of it left on there. And then we're going to install the new pad, and what I'm hoping for, as long as these corners right here don't give me too much of a problem, I'm wanting to run the pad all the way to the bottom of this weld right here where the cap goes. So flat here, we're going to come around at least halfway down and wrap it all the way around here. So that's what we're hoping for. Obviously I have to look at it. I have more than enough material because these 2013 tanks are a lot more low profile than like 0304s. So one tank pad will go a long way. So I'm gonna work on cleaning this up. I want this surface as sticky and flat as possible. That way when I put the new pad on it, it sticks good. And then I may have to use some super glue just on, you know, rised up corners on the edges and stuff. So we're gonna clean this up. We'll get the new tank pad, we'll kind of mock it up a little bit, see what we're gonna have to cut, and go from there. Alright guys, so I think we see there's a clear winner on what took that crap off the vest, and it was definitely the Dremel with the really soft wire wheel. So the next step, I'm going to use a degreaser. It's going to be purple power that I'm going to use to try to get any residual that's left over, which I think I got most of it. But I'm going to get any residual I can, and then I'm going to make sure it's super dry, come back over with the heat gun one more time just to make sure that you know, if there's any anything on here that I want to look out for. you know, any contaminants, I guess, what you say, that I want to burn off, to make sure this is just as dry and, you know, prepped as I want it to get for the new pad. So. This is a new tank pad. It's obviously huge. We've got more than enough to work with. As I was saying, my plan is to start about here. You're gonna wanna make sure that it gets down worked into the bowl, and I'm gonna have to fold it over the back. The big things that I'm wanting to make sure of is that as I press down here and kind of flatten this out, I wanna make sure that I can bend over this edge really good. So obviously I wanna make sure I can bend over the edge. I wanna make sure it's square. You know, and the big thing that we're gonna make sure we start with is when I set it down, I'm gonna start on this lip, you know, up here, and I wanna work down into the bowl and then mash it out all over the place, because I don't wanna end up having, you know, any gap or, you know, anything under where the bowl is. So I think we're about lined up there on either side. This little diamond looks like the middle here. So what I think I'm gonna do, go ahead and get this ready to put in. I'm obviously gonna have to trim the back. There's way too much back here. So what we're probably gonna do is go ahead and take the adhesive off, at least on half of it. Go ahead and get it worked around where I want it. And then we'll work on the back half in terms of how we're gonna trim it and that sort of stuff. Because, I mean, pretty safe to say from where I stand right here, I can probably, you know, cut some off of the back of here. You know, go ahead and trim off like this much, you know, so cutting down this line just to give myself a little bit more, just to start with, and then, you know, as I put it on, we'll go back and trim some more. So let's try that and see what we can get. Okay, that's way more solid. That's perfect. So now the adhesive is going to come off of the back, the adhesive cover. I'm going to use the heat gun and heat this up just a little bit to make it a little bit more, you know, usable. So I don't know whether to do that with this on here or not. Probably be better to take it off first. I've never put a tank pad on before, so bear with your boy here. Okay guys, this is the part that we don't fuck up. I'm just gonna line it up right where I want it. Okay, but making sure that I got my lip right here. Now, let's go ahead and start working it down into the bowl. Oh shit. I need it to come back a little bit more. Okay, so that's not looking too bad. I'm a little bit, just slightly off center from where I wanted it. That's okay. The biggest thing that's the most important is making sure that the bowl is completely filled in. Okay, and I came up a little short here. That's okay, I'll be a little long on the back. So now, as you start to work around the back, this little tip comes from Brian 636. There's two relief cuts that you can make back here, and I want to say they're right in these diagonal lines that'll make these edges fold over. So we're going to make those relief cuts. That way this folds over really nice and we don't have, you know, a big wrinkle in it somewhere or something like that. So Now that gives us a way to fold this around like that. So I'm gonna cut this all the way to the lip. So basically that allows these two pieces to fold into each other.
Slow then.
Also is once we get this folded down where we want it, we can cut again this piece, this top piece, to fold, you know, kind of however we want to, because these overlap a little bit. So, all right, so there you guys have it. This is the end result. I think aesthetically it's not as good as the other tank or the other pad that was in here. I think the other pad probably looked a little bit better, but this is more about functionality rather than, you know, looks. The relief cuts you saw me make, the only thing I kind of don't like is that right here it bunched up just a little bit on each side. I might be able, I'm gonna ride with it first and just see, but I might have to cut a little bit more and squish this down, and then you might have to use super glue or something like that under any edges. This side didn't do it, but this side is still a little squishy. So gonna play with that a little bit, but for the most part, guys, that's it. If you have any tips, you know, for somebody else that might have to do the same thing, you know, or ways mainly to get the adhesive off, because that was a pain in the ass, you know, drop a comment down there and we'll highlight it and keep it at the top and let people know, you know, what's working. So till then, you guys, later.
You big all sus, yeah. I just doubled up on crypto. I just doubled down on the new vest. Now my chair looking like